Hey guys, it is Julie here with TipRanks, and welcome to our crypto update here with our TipRanks crypto guru, Annika. Today, we're going to be talking about Bitcoin, cryptocurrency in general, some different coins as well. So, Annika, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, always a pleasure. It's been an exciting few months in the crypto world, but especially this past week, specifically as Bitcoin finally passed $100,000, which was a big milestone. Can you tell us a bit about what's been happening there?
Yeah, I mean, this was a milestone that everyone was dreaming of in the crypto world. So I always thought this was going to happen, but I didn't realize it would happen so quickly. But there have been a few factors that have fueled this rally. So let's rewind a bit. It started from April. April, the Bitcoin halving event took place. So that limits the Bitcoin supply. Usually that pushes the price up. And historically, when we see what happens, the price goes up after a halving. It usually launches off a new bull run. And then after that, we got a lot of mainstream adoption. So we got Bitcoin spot ETFs that were approved. So many huge asset managers like BlackRock and Vanguard, and so many different firms were launching their own spot ETFs. And that made being able to invest in Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies via ETFs a lot easier. And then we also had the Ethereum spot ETF. And now they're trying for Solana. So hopefully that happens too. But more than anything, it was Trump winning. Now, whatever someone's political beliefs are, Trump has been very pro crypto. Not that Kamala wasn't, but he really voiced his pro crypto opinions. And, he promised to even fire the SEC chair, Gary Gensler. Am I saying it right?
Gensler, I think, yeah. Yeah.
Gensler. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and he was always very sort of against cryptos, and he was putting lawsuits left, right, and center on cryptocurrencies like Ripple, saying that they were securities. There were lawsuits against Binance, Coinbase, Kraken. So, and he was always warning against the risks of the unregulated market. And,
Yeah.
that really helped the crypto landscape that when Trump came in and said, hey, we're going to fire Gary and appoint someone that is more crypto friendly. I believe they're appointing someone called Paul Atkins right now. So Trump's return to the White House was a big, big reason as to why, Bitcoin reached over 100K. It was over the last few months. And he also promised, or there's speculation that they want to have a Bitcoin national reserve. So that's also caused a lot of excitement. On top of that, Elon Musk actually has been appointed to lead the DOGE, so not
Yeah.
Dogecoin, the DGE, Department of Government Efficiency. And as we know, Elon Musk is a big crypto supporter. So all of these huge names, Trump, Elon Musk, huge companies are going ahead and buying Bitcoin or using it as part of their business. The US debt has hit 34 trillion, I think, in early 2024. So people are looking increasingly to crypto to provide themselves with a sort of safe haven asset. Even major fund managers like Kathy Wood, I love her. She's the founder of ARK Invest, and she's backed crypto a lot over the years. And she actually said that this Bitcoin run is at its early innings. So she thinks it's just gotten started. And if you think about it, we've reached around a $2 trillion Bitcoin market cap, which I think is kind of unbelievable.
Yeah, considering how quickly that's grown over just the last few years, really, when we've seen it become more mainstream. But as soon as we broke 100,000, we then very quickly came back underneath it and stuff too. Do you think we're going to be able to, like, now that that 100 has been broken, are we going to be back above it soon? Is it going to become this kind of resistance that we see, or where do you think we play with that level from here?
I mean, yeah, I think that $100,000 was a sort of psychological resistance level.
Hmm.
Everyone was expecting, right, we're going to meet that 100K. But with any psychological dream, iconic sort of milestone level, there's going to be a pullback where investors want to take in profits, lock in gains, and it's sort of common behavior in the market. It's market correction essentially. But I do think we will surpass it. You know, we are in a bull run right now. After this bull run, there will be market corrections. I'm sure Bitcoin will probably, in my opinion, go back down again until we see more institutional adoption, until it's become almost like this asset that everyone has. That
Yeah.
maybe it might even be future currency. And also, a lot of analysts are optimistic. I mean, there are some saying, you know, that Bitcoin could reach $1 million in the future. And, you know, yes, that's an ambitious target, but people never thought that Bitcoin would even reach 100K. You know,
Right.
people
It
never.
was pennies before, right? Like it was fractional things. Like, and I was going to bring up that $1 million price target that some analysts are saying, because it's not even that far in the future. That's not, 10, 15 years from now. They're saying in the next few years. And that just seems unbelievable. But when you see the growth over these last few years, it's maybe not so crazy.
Exactly. Yeah. I completely agree. I mean, we never thought it would reach 100K and it has.
No, no.
So let's see where it goes.
Yeah. And infamously, too, there was that NFL player a few years ago that took half his salary in Bitcoin and everyone was kind of laughing at him. And now, I mean, right,
He's milking it.
he
Right now,
showed
he's
us
milking.
there. Yeah. Now
That's
another
incredible.
cryptocurrency that's been making some headlines and stuff is Ripple, and that's rallied about like 400% over the last few months. So can you give us some background on what's going on with that?
Yeah. Oh, so Ripple, I mean, that's been breaking the headlines. And, you know, for right reasons. Poor Ripple had seen so much turmoil before with the SEC and everything that was happening. So it sort of started off. So why this sort of 400% started is Ripple had that big hurdle that was finally addressed. And that was that the SEC had multiple lawsuits against Ripple saying that it was a security, and they were trying to argue that it's not a security. In fact, I think the SEC wanted to go after many cryptocurrencies saying it's a security. But in August this year, there was a judge, I think her name was Annalisa Torres, and she said that she gave Ripple a $125 million penalty, saying that it's not that they've violated securities law, but that they are not a security. I mean, the penalty was a lot better than the $2 billion initially, which was the initial amount the SEC had sought. So that was a major win for Ripple. And then after that, there was a lot of positive sentiment. You know, everyone was waiting for that lawsuit to end, to see it sort of ruled in Ripple's favor. So, I mean, of course, 125 million sounds like a lot to us, but in the grand scheme of the
Compared.
2 billion,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a win for Ripple. And then, you know, of course, there's also just been in general very positive market sentiment following Donald Trump's election. He's had that pro-crypto stance, like we discussed. And the second is that Ripple actually has gained approval of its RLUSD stablecoin. So it's their own stablecoin. And people are anticipating that it will increase activity on Ripple's ledger. So it would open a lot more opportunities for the users in the Ripple ecosystem, but also people outside, you know, because XRP is used a lot in cross-border payments.
Okay.
So that's been a big one, the stablecoin. And they've also incorporated the stablecoins into their payment system, and they've been minting around 20% of Circle, so USD coins. So, especially given all the recent concerns of depegging events like that, Ripple wants to make their stablecoin a sort of trusted alternative for larger financial institutions that want a stable coin. And even overall, Ripple is seeking institutional adoption mainly. So there's a lot of that and just constant momentum now in the market. There's also consumer sentiment where everyone, you know, the community are all saying Ripple, 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 and then people buy it and then the price also goes up. That's also
Yeah.
true about cryptocurrency. It doesn't necessarily mean yes, there's favorable conditions, but it's like the entire world is coming together and they're hearing all this news and they're like, oh, let's buy Ripple or let's buy Bitcoin. And then that's is what's rallying the
Yeah.
prices up. Whether or not it is worth that price it still means there will be rallies because everyone's talking about it, everyone's feeling positive, everyone wants to get in a bit of that action and profit from all the positive sentiment that's in the market.
Yeah, a lot of buzz being created. To kind of jump back on that SEC ruling as well, too, I got to imagine that's going to start kind of setting the standard for the industry as well, because they're deciding whether it's, security and can be regulated by them or not, right? So that ruling is going to have that ripple down effect to the rest of a lot
Oh,
of crypto.
I like the pun.
Thanks. Didn't even mean to. But right, like that starts to set the standard where they're saying, hey, no, we're not actually this typical security that you oversee, and getting away from that standard regulation, I got to imagine is a pretty big move in the right direction for that sector.
Exactly. I mean, Trump really wants a softer stance on cryptocurrencies. They want to make, I believe he said he wants to make America or the USA a crypto sort of, I don't know if his word was hub, but he wants to make it world renowned for cryptocurrencies. And for that, you need stable regulations. The regulations have been so far so unclear. And with my experience in crypto, I'd Google or I'd try to ask lawyers that were in crypto or anyone for clarity, but there weren't enough guidelines. And I think
Yeah.
they want to have a sort of almost like could you say legal code? Basically, a system, a framework that companies and people can follow when it comes to crypto.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, on top of crypto, we're also seeing a lot of crypto related stocks be fueled by all this rally as well. I know particularly MicroStrategy in the last little while has just taken off a lot. So what do we see moving those?
Yeah, okay, this has been blowing my mind that companies are acquiring Bitcoin in their balance sheet in a way of sort of raising capital. MicroStrategy was the first to sort of capitalize on this trend. I mean, Michael Saylor, he's been a very outspoken Bitcoin fan since the beginning. I mean, back in November, they've had this Bitcoin accumulation strategy in November, they purchased, I think, around 55,000 of Bitcoin or something for 5.5 billion. And they also have been trying to raise, I think, $42 billion worth in Bitcoin, I believe. I need to double check that figure, but I think it was they're on a mission to raise some of it, 21 billion through stock issuances and some through debt so that they can buy more Bitcoin. I believe that was the case. So yeah, Michael Saylor even said to Microsoft, he delivered a pitch saying, follow MicroStrategy's what we've done, and he said that Microsoft should allocate, I think, around 100 billion a year to purchase
Wow.
Bitcoin. Yeah, and use its cash flows and dividend payouts and stock buybacks and debt to fuel that move. So he said something along the lines of Microsoft can't afford to miss the next technology wave, and he said that Bitcoin is that wave. He's I think MicroStrategy's share price has gone up. I mean, I can't remember the exact number, but it was some huge amount in the last year. I think
Oh,
around even almost
I'd
600%
say
in
hundreds, I think,
the
right? Here, I'll
yeah, it's over 500%. I can't remember the exact percentage, but yeah, something crazy like that. So a lot of these crypto stocks like MicroStrategy have seen rallies because of their Bitcoin
yeah,
accumulation strategy.
about
The
590%, by the way. So about 600% in the past year.
There we go. That's huge. I mean, that's almost a 6x for a company just in the
Yeah.
past year through some of their strategies. Of course, they have also gained from the AI revolution, and then the fact that they've cryptocurrency markets have been up and everything we discussed about what's been in favor of it. But there are other companies like Marathon Digital.
Mm.
They've also been investing in Bitcoin, just like MicroStrategy. I think even some non-traditional players, such as Semler Scientific, which is actually a medical device firm, they have around 1,570 Bitcoins. So they've also seen rallies in the last few months. Iris Energy, another unconventional player that isn't a crypto stock, but also has seen rallies. So yeah, there's of course also the correlation that crypto stocks will do well if cryptocurrencies also do well. So there's a bit of accumulate Bitcoin, so that's helped their earnings, and then they can repurpose that or sort of reinvest that back into their operations. But there's also the fact that they've benefited from the
Yeah.
crypto.
It's kind of intimidating as a retail investor that I think a lot of people dream to maybe own like a Bitcoin, like a whole Bitcoin and stuff. And we're up
Right.
against these companies spending hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars on it, but a little piece of the pie
I
there.
know.
Yeah. Now, I know we touched briefly on this at the start when we talked about Elon Musk. Of course, we have his, not just the Department of Government Efficiency, but Doge and Dogecoin as well. And he's often linked to some of those rallies there. And we've seen it rallying lately. Obviously, a lot of ties there. So catch us up on that.
Yeah, just to clarify to our audience, the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, is not the same as Dogecoin, but because it actually has been coined the same as the ticker of Dogecoin, the community are like, Elon Musk, he's going to
Yeah.
help us rally Doge. Now he's doing this government initiative that's got nothing to do with Doge, but it's sort of just a bit of
They kind of
chatter,
tied the two. Yeah.
yeah, although it's not linked, but
Yeah.
and he's always mentioned Dogecoin on tweets. He supports it, and you can even use Dogecoin to pay for some Tesla products. And you know what I find so interesting about Dogecoin compared to other meme coins? Dogecoin isn't really a meme coin. It did start off as a joke. Yes, it has that little dog face that it's the iconic dog face and it's that meme. But actually, it's got more utility now, and it's getting adopted in a mainstream way because it's got low transaction costs and also fast processing times. So it makes it quite practical for smaller transactions.
Okay.
Because things like Bitcoin, they require tons of energy to mine or to transfer across. Even Ethereum back in the day used to have really high fees, whereas Dogecoin has really low costs. So if you want to send some Doge to pay for something, it's really quick and really cheap. And then the second thing, of course, apart from the crypto sentiment, that is a major reason Doge has rallied. There's also been the Santa Claus rally that people are saying, which is sort of like a around Christmas time. Asset prices generally tend to rise, not just in crypto, but even in stocks in the holiday season. And historically, I even remember in the last bull run, most of the rallies were in November. And Dogecoin's historical performance in November has been really, really high, but it tends to calm down in December. So a lot of people, I don't know if they're winding down for Christmas, but a lot of people are taking profits and trading a little bit less and taking profits basically. So
Yeah.
yeah, there's a bit of a slump in December. So, oh, and the second thing probably that I'd say is Dogecoin has a lot of volatility. So there's a lot of people trading it as well. So there are nowadays, I think, Dogecoin futures and different options, different financial ways in which they're making capitalizing on that volatility. So I think I released an article for TipRanks about how Dogecoin actually surpassed the market cap of Ford. Can you believe it?
Yeah,
Ford's
right. Like
market
this
cap is
long-standing automobile maker versus Dogecoin.
right. I
Uh,
mean, it's unbelievable the world we live in. And but
you know,
also, I see meme coins as collaborative enterprises. I mean, they're basically the community, and that community is they have an incentive to come together and boost whatever cryptocurrency they are supporting. I mean, that's with all crypto communities, but especially those
yeah,
that start off as meme coins. The more support they get, the more they can rally up the price, give Doge, the actual Dogecoin block, the actual Dogecoin, the funds to be able to, improve its utility and improve the investments and sort of reinvest back into the business. So it's actually the community that have helped it grow.
yeah, absolutely. Now, this question kind of, I guess, goes back a bit to the last piece we were talking about there with MicroStrategy, but as crypto is becoming a lot more mainstream and we're seeing these big players in it, what are some other companies that are kind of big players in this space?
It's so glad that you asked me this question because I can't believe I forgot one of the most important points. Well, the mainstream adoption of crypto, aside from what we discussed with MicroStrategy and Marathon Digital and banks and the US government wanting to accumulate Bitcoin, aside from that, a huge one has been crypto ETFs. We have been waiting for this moment for a long time. A lot of people, their mums and dads, or the people that don't really know crypto, they don't know how to invest in it. They wouldn't
Yeah.
necessarily know, right, this is how I go and buy Ethereum. I hold it in my, I don't know, MetaMask or my Ledger or whatever it is. They wouldn't know that. I mean, they don't know how to send things across. I mean, I'm sure there are loads of parents that would know, but I know mine would not know. So crypto ETFs is that way where they can invest it with traditional institutions. So that's been the big thing in 2024. That's actually caused the bull run to be so big because
Yeah.
so many funds flowing into these ETFs. I mean, we've got BlackRock, Fidelity, ARK Invest, Bitwise that have really dominated the space, Grayscale. And then on top of that, we even had Ethereum ETFs getting approved, which have also recorded huge inflows with this bull run. I think BlackRock's iShares Bitcoin Trust, the ticker is IBIT or IBIT. They've had around $21 billion in inflows,
Wow.
followed by, I think Fidelity has had I think it was around 10 billion, and theirs was FBTC. And then, even ARC 21 shares, Bitwise's Bitcoin ETF have had fantastic inflows. So that has been a huge, huge change in the world because before we'd have to buy the actual crypto.
Yeah.
Now you can just buy the ETF
Well,
and,
it's so much
it.
more like accessible and maybe like less intimidating to those that have only invested through those traditional methods, right? So instead of having to figure out a wallet and all these different methods that used to be the only way, now they can go to their normal broker and be like, "Hey, I want a slice of this crypto world," right? So it's so much more accessible.
That's exactly it. Yeah. I mean, the Ethereum ETF as well, which surprised me, has, I think it was a BlackRock's one. They had around $1 billion in inflows. So that was really interesting. And then
Yeah.
even Grayscale, they are trying, I think it was Grayscale that is now trying for a Solana ETF. So, now they're trying to expand ETFs into other cryptocurrencies as well. So
Yeah.
let's see how that goes.
I'll just keep going from here, right?
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah. All right, now to wrap things up, one final question for you. When it comes down to a better safe haven asset, holding funds for long term, Bitcoin or gold, what would you say is the better option?
Oh, that's a tricky one. So I would say both are safe havens, but slightly different. I mean, the main different reason being, Bitcoin is a digital asset, whereas gold is a physical asset. So let's break it down as to what kind of makes a safe haven asset. So scarcity. So Bitcoin is a scarce, it has a finite supply. And of course, we had the halving event. So the halving event, which happens every 4 years, it reduces the block reward to miners by 50%. So it slows the rate of new coins entering into circulation. And this essentially reduces Bitcoin's inflation rate, which then increases scarcity. So Bitcoin is a safer haven asset. I wouldn't say necessarily more than gold, but I'd say than it was before because of the
Yeah.
halving. Now, gold, on the other hand, I mean, it's been a store of value for thousands, to be honest, if not hundreds of thousands of years, or for the time since humans were maybe alive, and that also has a finite supply and it's driven by things like mining and natural resource limits. So in that sense, it's the scarcity element. Now, the second thing I'd say is that both of them are also considered safe havens because they are usually a hedge against inflation. Gold has always been considered a hedge against inflation, but Bitcoin, see, I'm sorry, Bitcoin is also considered a hedge against inflation. But even when we had high inflation, we saw Bitcoin's rally was actually just starting. So yeah, we've seen that it is a good hedge against inflation as well. And then lastly, volatility. So gold has always been less volatile than Bitcoin. So that's what makes it a safer option for
Sure.
investors that seek stability. Now, Bitcoin, on the other hand, is more volatile. I mean, there's so many different factors. You know, we've got institutions, we've got ETFs now, we've got Trump, we've got everything happening. So it has a much higher price fluctuation. So I'd say it definitely is a riskier asset in the short term, but it has shown growth potential. So that's one key thing. So I think an investor's risk appetite. I do think gold is probably safer, just also through its historical,
Yeah.
safety track record. And then
Got a
I'd
few
say
few centuries on top of Bitcoin. Hey?
exactly, whereas Bitcoin, well, doesn't. And lastly, I'd say market sort of maturity. So gold's track record, like I said, exactly what you said, spans centuries. It's the maturity. Whereas Bitcoin, it is maturing. It's still new. It's still people get impressed. Oh, you have Bitcoin. Whereas if you're like, oh, I have gold. Okay, cool. You've got some gold earrings on. Great. It's different. And then I think there's also more hype about Bitcoin right now. There's so much chatter. It's such a new asset. Well, kind of new. Whereas gold is sort of that trusted, it's been
Been
around.
around,
So I
yeah.
think, yeah, I wouldn't say one is better than the other. I'd just say I do think Bitcoin has more fluctuations. So if someone's investing in the short term, um, I think there are more chances of volatility and their funds moving up and down, especially if they buy it at a market top. So overall, I think both are safe haven assets. I think the main difference is the volatility. So I think that's something investors need to keep in mind.
Absolutely, right? And all investors have different risk tolerances and goals and stuff, of course. So always safe advice there. Well, thank you, Annika. That was so much useful information. I know I learned a bunch because like the crypto world, there's a lot going on. It's a lot to stay on top of. For our viewers, you can check out Annika's articles right on the TipRanks page covering a lot of this crypto related news. And we'll definitely have you back on soon to chat more crypto and everything. So thanks so
Thank
much.
you so much, Julie. It was great fun talking to you.
Always a pleasure. All right. Have a good day, everybody, and we'll see you next time.